Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. Me, Afsal, VV, coming from India. I'm doing my research on Nursi, a comparison between Nursi and Sirhindi in Jawaharlal Nehru University in New Delhi, as you know. My topic of research is a comparison, as I told, and today I present my paper, Reinterpreting Jihad, a comparative study of jihad qawily of Sirhindi, Imam Rabbani, as you know, and manavijihad of Nursi. Introduction. Sayyid Nursi and Sirhindi live in different places. Sirhindi in the Indian subcontinent and Nursi in Anatolia. They are divided by time approximately 350 years apart, yet there are striking similarities in terms of their scholarship and intellectual output. Given the fact that both of them look differently at the idea of forming and promoting Sufi orders, their aims and objectives were found identical and similar. Among the available research works on Nursi, though the scholarly attention has gained on general comparison between Sirhindi and Nursi, the focused analysis of particular aspect of their thoughts is yet to taken into account. By taking the concept of jihad, this paper attempts to draw comparative observation how Sirhindi and Nursi put in their particular spatial temporal context they lived in. Today, the word jihad has become an umbrella word, often manipulated by the media outlets to equate with violence and terrorism. However, anyone familiar with the intellectual history of Islamic thoughts will recognize this application of term jihad as a crude distortion of a rather beautiful and even sacred concept. In this context, the manavijihad proposed by Turkish scholar Sayyid Nursi is significant in terms of its resonance in constituting a powerful civic resistance in Turkey which rejects the means of violence and hostility. Moreover, Nursi's conceptualization of manavijihad has some inextricable linkage with the Sufi thoughts of Naqshbandi Sufi lineage and most particularly with concept of Sheikh Ahmad Sirhindi. Now I am moving to define what is jihad. Literally, the Arabic term jihad means to make an effort or to strive or exert oneself in the utmost. Technically, it includes a wide range of meaning. And I am skipping this part, and Hakan Yavuz and Sukran Wahidi has given some definition for the jihad. Diversifying the concept of jihad. According to the traditional classification, jihad is categorized into two, jihad akbar and jihad asghar. The term can be found its derivation from the prophetic tradition, as Imam Bayhaqi reported. Prophet says, "We are finished with the lesser jihad, now we are starting the greater jihad." And another hadith also there. Sheikh Ahmad Sirhindi has mentioned and explained this well-known tradition in his maktubat. He says that generally the Sufis interpreted jihad akbar as the jihad with the soul or body, nafs, controlling it from the evil commands coming out of the personal motive. But in contrast with this common meaning, Sirhindi suggests rather profound meaning. While he goes interpreting it as jihad to qalab. Qalab means mold. Because for Sirhindi, the body will not commit any mistake while it has already come under your full control. Rather, it attain calmness, itmi'nan, and be elevated to the rank of Raliya and Marliya. In addition to that, the Sirhindi defined what he means by qalab. It is to have will to get rid of most good, to perform the excused things in juristic decisions, and to avoid the solid intention. However, in a sense, Sirhindi asserts the same meaning of nafs taught by the Sufis and renders an emphasis on the extreme reluctance of nafs from all type of evil deeds and actions. In Risale, Nursi also provided an analysis of concept of jihad akbar, which in some extent reflects the Sufi understanding of Ahmad Sirhindi. Even though he develops the concept of with further requirements, like Sirhindi, he mentioned about the evil commandings. He says, if you wish to nourish enmity, then direct it among the enmity in your heart and attempt to rid of yourself of it. Be an enemy of your commanding soul and its caprice to attempt to reform it. And now I'm moving to the another part. How they understand the enemy. Who are the enemies? The fundamental question here is how both Nursi and Sirhindi understand the enemy against which they have to fight. Both of them illustrate the enemy as the sources of problem in different perspectives. For Sirhindi it was some groups of people, while for Nursi it was certain abstract factors. Ulama usul, it means bad scholars, and pseudo-Sufis were the source of problem for Sirhindi. Rigorously attacking the bad scholars throughout his maktubats, Sirhindi lays much of blame at the door of wicked worldly ulama ud-dunya and ulama usul. He attributes the ulama usul were the responsible for the chaos existed in the 16th century India. And in place of heretic groups, Sirhindi forces the enemy comprised of ignorance, poverty and conflict for Nursi in the 20th century. During the fight between Kurds and Armenians, he emphasized the need of coexistence and urged to slay the ignorance and remove the thirst of revenges instead of killing the innocent people. He said, our enemy, that which is destroying us, is ignorance, and his son poverty effendi and grandson enmity bad. And now I am moving to the next part. The solution, what are the solutions they suggested? The macro and micro solutions. For Sirhindi, the remedy lies on both macro and micro levels. The macro level jihad has been composed by his understanding of Sufism, the systematic training of Sufi orders, especially a sheikh-disciple relationship, empower an individual to wage a war, a jihad within self in order to keep aloof of all motives of violence at the external sphere. In the meantime, the macro level remedies to the problems are constituted by political and non-political interventions. In his view, the Sultan of Islamic Kingdom holds the responsibility of guiding the society in the right path by enacting the Sharia. He refers in Maktubat to the famous quoting in the Arabic literature or in the literature, "An-nasu ala dini mulukihim," the people follow their kings, emphasizing the solid attachment between kings and subjects. I mean the people living there. He compares the Sultan to the herd, conveying that the function of a Sultan in the Islamic kingdom equals to the function of herd in the human body. Therefore, Sirhindi wants Sultan to implement Sharia as a legal system of the rule. In the fervent situation of 16th century, Sirhindi urged for the political intervention of nobles of the court in the proceedings of King Akbar. Unhappily with Emperor Akbar sanctions against the Sharia, Sirhindi requested the nobles to engage a jihad qawily, verbal wars, by giving advices and directions to Emperor Akbar in order to hold actions that will strengthen the cause of Islam. In critical conditions such as these, Sirhindi says, the minor verbal actions with jihad qawli will be rewarded prettily, because it is not known about any action performed by the Ashabul Kahf, men of cave, other than their migration, the infidel. It means very small things equal to very big rewards. You will get from Allah, you will get the big reward for the small action in these conditions. The macro level action or top to bottom interference indeed endangered substantial resonances in the milieu of 16th century. The jihad qawily proposed by Sirhindi was more encompassing in its scope than the specific context he put, as it utilized all possible methods in a non-violent and peaceful manner. In this sense, his letters and counter-letters between Sirhindi and his nobles represent as the most sophisticated weapons of that period. The jihad in Nursi's perspective lies primarily at micro level, beginning the flame of change from the bottom. One general solution he illustrated throughout his risala is bringing religious consciousness in the everyday life. His risala, in fact, interacted with each individual in the society and instructed them to engage war within self at first, which may gradually constitute a noble society. And now I am moving to the second part of my paper. It is the influence of Naqshbandi Sufi order on Nursi to constitute the manavijihad. What are the influence of Naqshbandi Tariqa on Nursi to constitute this very great thought of manavijihad? While examining the life of Sayyid Nursi minutely, we came to know about the considerable influence of Nursi in the Sufism and especially with Naqshbandi Tariqa lineage. Evidently, Nursi's inclination with Sufism started right from his family. Sharif Madin pointed out, the family of Nursi has spiritually been belonged to Naqshbandi qawily Sufi lineage. Although Nursi didn't speak of strict relationship between Shaykh and disciple, has existed generally in the Sufi orders, his way of thinking and method of argumentation nonetheless were influenced by Sufism of Anatolia, Haqqani says. Moreover, Nursi himself admitted the fact that cultural domains of Naqshbandi Sufi lineage in the milieu of Turkey had a significant impact on him. So I assume that the mission and vision that Nursi articulated has arguably been associated directly with some of the prescribed principles of Naqshbandi lineage. I hereby attempt to find a connection between Nursi's idea of manavijihad with some of the principles of Naqshbandi Sufi lineage. First, safardarvalan, journey within homeland. Sufism by nature encourages the torrential travel. The terminologies belong to Sufism, essentially derived from the Arabic word that associated with the travel. For example, tariqa, it means way, and maqam, it means station, and salik, it means the wayfarer, one who travels. Safardarvalan, journey within homeland, is one of the key principles of Naqshbandi Sufi order. The concept had various interpretations among the texts. According to the Rashhatul Ain al-Hayat of Fakhruddin al-Kashifi, what meant by homeland is the wayfarer's human instinct, tabi'at bashriya. While the travel denotes to the advancing from the degradable attributes inherent in the nature to the angelic attributes is one meaning. Meanwhile, Fakhruddin Kashifi has described a different choices of Naqshbandi sheikhs in traveling beyond the homeland and remaining there. It means there are so many interpretations to this safardarvalan. Most of them are, it is about the inner self and what is going on the inner side of one man. However, it is evident from the works of Sufis of Naqshbandis. The principle of travel within homeland has the meaning of terrestrial journey. Moreover, we can also see some of the eminent figures of Naqshbandis who have rarely held journeys other than their journey of Hajj. While explaining about Shah Naqshband, the founder figure of Naqshbandi Sufi lineage, Hamid Algar pointed out, the Shah Naqshband has never moved beyond his homeland, the Central Asia and contiguous areas other than 2 occasions of Hajj. And next principle is Khalwatar Anjuman. It means solitude within society. One of the other principles that the Naqshbandi scholars have shown an interest in the principle Khalwatar Anjuman, solitude within society. This principle is generally understood within the context of Naqshbandi Sufi's interventions with the political sphere. The Sufi order historically kept a close bond with the various rulers right from the original space of Central Asia. And the most very good example is Khaja Ubaidullah Ahrar. And I am coming to the context of Turkey. Naqshbandi Sufi order is seen to have increasingly encouraged the political engagement since the lifetime of Maulana Khalid. The Khalidiyya Naqshbandiyya has always intervened in the political affairs before and after the end of Ottoman Empire. And I am also taking the example of Sheikh Said revolt held in 1925 is also in a sense a political interference or political demonstration. And I'm moving to the next part. Nursi's internalization of these principles, how he understands. However, Nursi followed the active political engagement of Naqshbandi Sufi future when he was young, during the Old Said, during the various wars that held in the last decades of Ottoman Empire. Nursi had a major role for which he was awarded and appreciated. His political engagement in his period was highly visible, but soon after the abolition of Ottoman Caliphate, he undergone for an inner transition. And at many occasions in his exile, Nursi was keeping the principle of Khalwatar solitude within society, and communicated with society through the pieces of Risale-e-Nur that he wrote and handed over to his disciples very secretly. Simultaneously, he remained in the contemplation, unveiling many secrets and truth of reality through Quran. The two parts of this principle, one is contemplating God and second is engaged within society, are visible in Nursi, but different way and method from the followers of Naqshbandi order. After his release from exile, the multi-party system facilitates his return to the politics. He enthusiastically supported the Democratic Party against the rule of Republicans in the election held in 1950. Similarly, in keeping with the principles, with principle safardarvalan, journey within homeland, Sayyid Nursi spent almost his life in Turkey and contiguous areas of Ottoman land. The only far-flung area from Istanbul that spent about 2 years was Kusturma in northwestern Russia, though it was in prison after he was arrested by the Russian army. In this case, he followed the Naqshbandi Sufis, Bahauddin Naqshband and Ahmad Sirhindi, whom Sayyid Nursi often mentioned in Risale with immense reverence. A point to be noted that both Nursi and Sirhindi expressed their love with their homeland. Nursi argued that by nature, each citizen should be concerned with the issues of homeland, nation and government. And Sirhindi also discussed this, and he explained Hubbul Watani min al-Iman. He also described this as in Maktubat. Conclusion. What I tried to explore here is that the concept of jihad has become today a tool of Islamophobia. Instead of the elevated concept of internal struggle, it has become a synonym for terrorism. In this paper, we look at the links between Sayyid Nursi and Sirhindi. We discover a set of fascinating connections between the two men on the topic of jihad. And out of the exercise, we will find 4 features of jihad that captures the richness of this tradition. First notion is that both Nursi and Sirhindi see the force of jihad as an exercise in the internal struggle to eradicate the propensities of in people towards violence. Secondly, both scholars suggest the persuasion, eloquence and tongue as the weapons by which the manavijihad has to be employed. Thirdly, they differ slightly in constituting the real enemies. For Sirhindi, it was pseudo-Sufis and heretic ulamas. And for Nursi, it was ignorance itself constituted a real problem, urging to organize jihad against ignorance. The fourth feature is that Nursi's conceptualization of jihad is inextricably derived from the basic principles of Naqshbandi Sufi order. Nursi follows Shah Naqshband and Sirhindi in the principles of journey within homeland and solitude within society. Thank you.